Whispers in the shadows. Emily stood at the edge of the small clearing in the ancient woods, where moonlight struggled to pierce through the dense canopy. She clutched the letter in her trembling hands. It was from her husband, Edward, who had been missing for 2 weeks. "Meet me at the old oak tree in the heart of the forest," the letter read. There's something I need to tell you. Star. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying a haunting melody that sent shivers down Emily's spine. Against her better judgment, she stepped into the shadows, guided only by the moon's feeble glow and the dim lantern she carried. As she approached the ancient oak, Emily's breath caught in her throat. The gnarled branches seemed to reach out like skeletal fingers, and the air was thick with an unsettling stillness. Suddenly, a voice echoed from the shadows, a voice she knew all too well, Edward's voice. "Emily, I'm here," it murmured. She turned to face the darkness, her heart pounding. There, amidst the shadows, stood Edward. His once warm and familiar features were distorted, a haunting expression etched on his face. "Edward, where have you been? What happened to you?" Emily's voice wavered with a mixture of fear and relief. Edward's eyes gleamed with an unnatural light, and a cold breeze swept through the clearing. "I've seen things, Emily. Things you wouldn't believe. I need you to understand, to believe me." Star. He led her deeper into the forest, the ancient trees towering overhead like silent witnesses to a growing unease. Edward began to speak of a hidden world, a realm beyond the understanding of mortals, where shadows held secrets and whispers told tales of ancient pacts. "I stumbled upon it, Emily. A place where time itself unravels, and reality is but a thin veil. I've seen creatures that defy description, and voices that echoed from the depths of eternity." Star. Emily's skepticism wrestled with her love for Edward. She listened, captivated and terrified, as he described an otherworldly force that had taken an interest in him. An entity that craved something beyond human comprehension. "It whispers to me, Emily. It tells me things, secrets, forbidden knowledge. But it demands something in return. It wants a part of me, a piece of my soul." Star. They reached a clearing bathed in an eerie glow. In the center stood an ancient altar, surrounded by flickering candles. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding. "I can't escape it, Emily. It follows me, haunts my dreams. I brought you here because you need to know. I don't know how much time I have left." Star. As Edward spoke, the shadows seemed to writhe, taking on a life of their own. The whispers intensified, echoing through the woods, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. "I love you, Emily. I need you to promise me something. If I succumb to the darkness, if it consumes me completely, you must leave. Forget about me. It's the only way to protect yourself." Emily's eyes welled with tears. "I can't, Edward. We'll find a way to fight this together. I won't abandon you." The ground beneath them trembled, and the air grew colder. Edward's form flickered, as if a shadow within him yearned to break free. The whispers reached a crescendo, a cacophony of ancient tongues that resonated through the night. "You don't understand, Emily. It's too late for me. I can feel it consuming my soul. Run, while you still can." As Emily pleaded with Edward to fight, the shadows enveloped him, twisting and contorting his once human form. His agonized screams echoed through the forest, mingling with the haunting whispers. Terrified and heartbroken, Emily stumbled backward, tears streaming down her face. She ran through the haunted woods, the echoes of her husband's torment haunting her every step. In the distance, the ancient oak loomed, its branches casting long, skeletal shadows. Emily emerged from the forest, her world forever changed by the horrors she had witnessed. The whispers lingered in the air, a chilling reminder of a love lost to the darkness. Eclipsed Love, The Haunting of Jonathan and Evelyn. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky as Evelyn sat alone in the dimly lit living room, waiting anxiously for her husband, Jonathan, to return. He had been acting peculiar for weeks, distant, secretive, and unnaturally quiet. As the clock ticked away, the eerie silence was shattered by the sound of the front door creaking open. Jonathan stumbled in, his eyes vacant and distant. The pale light from the street lamp outside revealed an emptiness in his gaze that sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. His clothes were disheveled, and an otherworldly chill seemed to linger around him. "Jonathan, where have you been?" Evelyn's voice trembled with a mix of concern and fear. He looked at her, but it was as if he gazed through her, his expression void of recognition. "I was elsewhere. I can't explain." Evelyn's unease deepened as Jonathan avoided eye contact and wandered into the shadows of their home. The air seemed to thicken with an ominous presence, casting a pallor over their once warm and familiar space. Days turned into nights, and Jonathan's strange behavior intensified. He would wake up in the middle of the night, speaking in a language Evelyn couldn't understand. His once warm touch now sent chills down her spine, and his whispers in the darkness left her sleepless. One evening, Evelyn discovered an old, dusty book hidden in the back of their closet. Its pages were filled with arcane symbols and cryptic incantations. As she flipped through the forbidden text, a realization struck her: Jonathan was entangled in something far beyond their understanding. Desperation and curiosity drove Evelyn to seek help. She reached out to a local occult expert, Professor Eleanor Blackwood, renowned for her knowledge of ancient rituals and supernatural phenomena. The professor agreed to meet, sensing the urgency in Evelyn's voice. In a dimly lit study, surrounded by shelves filled with dusty tomes, Professor Blackwood listened intently to Evelyn's tale of her husband's unsettling transformation. With a stern expression, the professor explained that Jonathan might have inadvertently opened a doorway to a malevolent force. "The lunar eclipse," Professor Blackwood muttered, her eyes narrowing. "During such celestial events, the boundaries between our world and the supernatural can weaken, allowing entities to slip through." Determined to save her husband, Evelyn and the professor delved into the dark arts, seeking a way to close the portal Jonathan had unwittingly opened. As they performed a ritual in the flickering candlelight, the air crackled with energy, and the room seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly force. Suddenly, Jonathan materialized in the center of the room, his eyes now ablaze with an unnatural light. The professor confronted the entity that had seized him, demanding it release its grip on the vulnerable man. A guttural voice echoed through the room, mocking their futile attempts to resist. As the confrontation reached its peak, Evelyn felt a surge of strength and determination. She stepped forward, clutching a talisman she had discovered in the occult book. With every ounce of her will, she recited an incantation, a plea for the entity to release her husband and retreat to the shadows from whence it came. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The room was consumed by an ethereal glow, and the entity recoiled in agony. Jonathan collapsed to the ground, his eyes returning to their familiar gaze. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, leaving the trio in the aftermath of their supernatural struggle. The lunar eclipse waned, and as dawn approached, Professor Blackwood assured Evelyn that the entity had been banished. However, she warned that the scars left by such encounters often linger, both in the mind and the soul. In the quiet moments that followed, Evelyn held Jonathan close, grateful to have him back. Yet, the haunting memories of that fateful night lingered, casting a shadow over their once idyllic life. As they faced the aftermath of the supernatural ordeal, one question remained unanswered: what had the eclipse whispered to Jonathan, and what mark did it leave on their love? Evelyn knew that, despite the return to normalcy, the echoes of that otherworldly encounter would forever shape the contours of their shared reality, a haunting reminder of the fragility of love in the face of forces beyond mortal comprehension. Shadows of Deception, The Haunting Silence of Thomas Grayson. The town of Ravenscroft, nestled at the edge of an ancient forest, bore witness to a tale of horror that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. Thomas Grayson, a respected historian, moved to the quiet town with his wife, Margaret, seeking solace from the chaos of city life. Little did they know that their peaceful existence would soon unravel in the shadows of deception. Thomas was a man of intellect and curiosity, drawn to the enigmatic history of Ravenscroft. His research focused on an old mansion on the outskirts of town, known as Blackwood Manor. Legends whispered of its cursed past, shrouded in mystery and tragedy. Undeterred by the ominous tales, Thomas delved deeper into the secrets that the manor held. As Thomas spent countless nights in the dusty archives of the town's historical society, Margaret began to notice a haunting change in her husband. The spark of warmth in his eyes dimmed, replaced by an unsettling emptiness. His once lively conversations grew scarce, and he became consumed by the enigma of Blackwood Manor. One stormy night, as the winds howled and rain lashed against the windows, Thomas returned home, his clothes soaked and his face pale. He spoke of an encounter within the manor's decaying walls, a presence that beckoned him to unlock its long-buried secrets. Margaret, torn between concern and fear, pleaded with him to abandon his obsession, but the shadows of deception had already taken hold. As Thomas delved deeper into Blackwood Manor's history, he uncovered a dark tale of forbidden love and a vengeful spirit that sought retribution. The more he unearthed, the more the line between reality and the supernatural blurred. Whispers echoed in the corridors of their home, and chilling apparitions danced at the edge of Thomas's vision. Margaret sought solace in the local parish, where the wise Father Matthias sensed an unnatural presence clinging to Thomas. Desperate to save her husband, Margaret, guided by the priest's counsel, discovered a relic, an ancient amulet rumored to ward off malevolent spirits. Armed with the amulet, Margaret confronted Thomas in their home, where the air was heavy with the stench of the otherworldly. Shadows danced on the walls as she pleaded with him to break free from the clutches of the vengeful spirit. Thomas, torn between love and the supernatural forces that ensnared him, revealed a haunting truth: he had unwittingly awakened a restless soul seeking justice for a long-forgotten betrayal. The moment the amulet touched Thomas's skin, a spectral figure materialized before them. The ghostly apparition, a woman in a tattered Victorian gown, cast mournful eyes upon the living. Margaret, trembling but resolute, communicated with the spirit, unraveling the tragic tale of Blackwood Manor. The spirit, Agatha Blackwood, had been wronged in life, her love affair condemned by societal norms. Betrayed and abandoned, she perished in despair, cursing the manor and anyone who dared to disturb its secrets. Thomas, unwittingly becoming the catalyst for her release, now faced a choice: succumb to the vengeful spirit's wrath or find a way to appease Agatha's tormented soul. Margaret, with unwavering determination, orchestrated a ritual to put Agatha's soul to rest. Together with Father Matthias, they ventured into Blackwood Manor, navigating its dark corridors and confronting the malevolent energy that clung to the walls. As the ritual unfolded, the air grew thick with tension. Agatha's tormented cries echoed through the mansion, reverberating with the pain of centuries. In a blinding burst of light, the spirit dissipated, leaving behind a haunting stillness. In the aftermath, Thomas, freed from the spectral influence, returned to himself. The once possessed historian now bore the weight of the tragic tale he had uncovered. Ravenscroft, forever marked by the shadows of deception, would carry the echoes of Agatha's sorrow, a cautionary tale etched into the annals of the town's haunted history.